let's make a gingerbread house. So I made one last year totally from scratch. You can go check out those videos. And I decided, why not try it again this year? Hopefully it comes out better. So this is part one. I'm just making the dough. You want to mix your dry ingredients first. I added flour, baking soda, cinnamon, salt, nutmeg, cloves, dried ginger. I added about a teaspoon of each spice and just a pinch of salt, of course. And since this is a gingerbread house that I'm planning to have up for the rest of the month, we will not be eating it, so I'm not too worried about the taste of it. I'm sure all the flavors are there, but unless you're going to eat it, don't worry about, if you add just a little bit more salt or something like that to it. I say that while I add in fresh nutmeg. You can totally just get all the dried spices for this. Once you've incorporated all your spices, you want to grab your spatula and just really make sure everything is incorporated fully. So sift it around, or better yet, get a whisk. I don't know why I didn't get a whisk. Get a whisk and whisk everything around. Whisk it real good and then set that aside. Next, you want to get another bowl and you're going to mix in all your wet ingredients. You're going to start with a butter base. I use 1.5 sticks of butter. And then you're going to pull out either your standing mixer or your hand mixer, and you want to beat that butter down till it's really soft. It helps if you let it sit out to get to room temperature before you do all this. It just makes it more pliable and easier to work with. Once you beat your butter down, you're going to add in a cup of brown sugar and then molasses. I think I did 3/4 cup of molasses. And then also, as you layer, every time you add something, you want to run it through the mixer. So I added in the brown sugar, I ran it through the mixer, I added in the molasses, I ran it through the mixer. You get it. Now this is just to make the cookie dough. This is the base, so you can pretty much do whatever you want with it. You can make gingerbread men or any other holiday gingerbread cookies, or you can try to do a gingerbread house like me. Obviously, the fun part is the assembly and the decorating of the gingerbread house, and we're gonna get there. Just hold tight. And also, I found the stencil free online. There are really, really elaborate stencils that you can download, and then there are more simple ones. I chose a slightly different one from last year, but still pretty simple overall. Nothing too complicated. Right now, I'm layering in my ingredients like I told you. Blending everything together. Doing it this way is going to help keep the dough fluffy and puffed out. You know how gingerbread cookies kind of have like a bubble effect. So doing it this way makes it do that. Oh, and if you don't like molasses, there are gingerbread recipes out there that you can find that don't call for it. But I really like the authentic flavor of the cinnamon and brown sugar and molasses and just all that yummy, yummy goodness. It really, really reminds me of the Christmas season. This time after I mix it, I'm going to add in a single egg, and then we're going to mix that in as well. If your mixture seems like it's breaking up, don't worry about it. That's totally normal. It's going to fix itself once you add in your dry ingredients. So beat all that together, and it's going to kind of expand. It's going to look really, really fluffy. Next, I added in some of my homemade vanilla extract. I have made a video on how to make it. It's super, super simple. It's literally just vodka and vanilla beans. You can also make it with bourbon or your other favorite liquor. But yeah, I add in a couple of teaspoons of vanilla extract and then mix that in as well. Next, we're going to add in your dry ingredients. You don't have to sift it through a strainer, but it helps. It really helps to make sure that there's no clumps or anything like that in there. There's no big, huge spice balls or anything crazy. So I sifted it through a strainer, put all my flour in there, And then, of course, I ran it back through the mixer. Make sure you scrape down the edges of your bowls to get everything incorporated. Once everything is mixed in really, really well, I just grabbed some saran wrap. You can also use parchment paper or even a Ziploc bag if that's all you got. You're going to lay your saran wrap down and then you're going to fold your dough into it. You can separate it or measure it out however you like, but I just put it all in one saran wrap. You want to fold your dough onto it and then you're going to wrap it up and place it in your refrigerator. It needs to sit in there at least maybe 2 hours to overnight. It really depends on your schedule, but at least 2 hours. Make sure it sits in there for 2 hours. And then there you go. It's going to set up. You're going to have your cookie dough and then you can move on to the next step. So make sure y'all come back for part 2.